Hey, what's up, everyone? Let's see. So today it is Friday, June 19th, 2020. Um, Again, just trying to get more comfortable in front of the camera. Woke up today at 4:30. I always wake up at 4:30. I went for like a 3 mile run today. For a while, I was running 4 miles, and then I got lazy. Me and my wife, were just walking every day. So I'm trying to get back into running. So I ran 3 miles today. Came home, took a shower. It's like 6:45 in the morning right now. Um, what else? Oh yeah, while I was running, I'm re-listening to the 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. I like Grant Cardone. Uh, I like all of his books. They're really motivational. When I listen to them, he doesn't give. It's a little bit different than maybe other books. Like he doesn't have necessarily like a list of like here's these 10 things that you should do, or here's 6 ways to do this. Or at least when I'm listening to it, I don't pay attention to those lists. But everything he talks about is always just motivating. Really gets me excited to work. That's basically his attitude. He kind of says it's your duty to work and be successful and take care of your family and all this. And that's what the 10X rule is all about. He says take massive actions and like dream big, have 10X dreams, and then take 10X actions to get uh, to make your dream successful. So I like that. But one of the things that caught me today was he was talking about fear. Like, what do you do with fear? And everyone's always afraid. And he said, obviously, I guess I shouldn't say obviously. He was saying fear is just an emotion, right? So like, don't pay attention to that. Somebody said, uh, I'm I'm not going to remember. He had some acronym for what fear was, but it's just like it's just emotions, like and it is kind of true. A lot of times, the stuff that you're afraid of, you're only afraid because like it's not really dangerous. It's not like a saber-toothed tiger or a car accident or something like that. Like you're afraid to go talk with your your boss or present an idea or something like that. Like it's not actually like dangerous. Lynchpin talked about that. Rejection proof talked about that, and it was kind of interesting because I think they all kind of have the same. All these books have these nuggets of information that are all the same. In Lynchpin, he was talking about the resistance, and when you have that resistance, or like when you feel that resistance, use that as like a guide. Like, okay, that's where I need to go. Rejection proof, he kind of just says like, don't be afraid of those things. Maybe you're just one ask away from like the most fun you've ever had, or like the best opportunity in your life. So kind of just make sure that you do it. In this chapter in 10X rule, he's talking about fear, and he says exactly that thing. Don't don't ignore fear. Use fear as a guide, right? Like if you're not afraid, maybe you're too comfortable and you're not stretching yourself, you're not growing. So find that thing that you're afraid of doing, calling a client or recording a YouTube video or something like that, and go towards that action. And that way you're actually growing. Um, I guess if you do sports, you could say that. I mean, he's what my point, what I was about to say is uh, maybe don't do like just because you're afraid doesn't mean you have to do crazy stuff, and that's arbitrary, obviously. Like don't go just walking on the edge of the Grand Canyon just because you're afraid to do it. Maybe there's a good reason to be afraid. That being said, doesn't mean you shouldn't like do paragliding because that's like scary but safe. Doesn't mean you shouldn't do bungee jumping or jumping out of a plane or learning jujitsu or something like that, because there is some dangers in all of those, but uh, there's also some growth in all of those as well. Anyway, he wasn't talking about that. I was just thinking about that. The other thing I was thinking about, I don't remember if he was talking about it today or not, but man, I've been listening and reading like self-help books, or like however you want to call them, just nonfiction or business books, since I was in high school, maybe before. I had a bunch of friends who were like reading Forgotten Realms books. Those are like the Dungeons and Dragons books, like the Drizzt trilogy, or like all of the Drizzt books, more than just a trilogy. I did end up reading those as well, just not in high school. I took a while, but all my friends were all reading those books in high school, and I was reading books like How to Win Friends and Influence People. I was, for some reason, maybe it was, I don't know. I guess I was gonna say maybe it's just like the nerd in me, but you know, reading's reading, so it doesn't really matter. I'm not sure what drew me to those books. But the point is, I've been reading books about success and behavior for a long, long time. One of the most consistent messages that I get from these books, and then now podcasts, and like I follow a lot of people on Twitter and Facebook, things like that. The most consistent message I get is really uh, taking that, how would I say it? Taking that responsibility for yourself. Like, don't allow yourself to be a victim of whatever circumstance it is. People are born in, obviously, like in different levels or in different situations, and that sucks, or sometimes it can suck, but still be responsible for yourself. Recognize where you're at right now, and take yourself to that next level, even if things aren't like 100% fair. And that's just, like I said, that's the most consistent message out of all of these books. And a lot of these people, like Grant Cardone wasn't just some like born lucky guy. His dad died at a young age. He got into like a drug overdose. He lost his twin brother, and like he was more than just like a drug overdose. He was like into drugs hard for like a lot of years. He had to go to rehab, stuff like that. So like he wasn't just some lucky guy. He 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 had bad luck. He wasn't just born lucky. He had like a shit situation, let's say, and he pulled himself out of it. And the way he pulled himself out of it was by learning, and like he was a car salesman and he didn't like sales, so he learned how to do it better. And now he's obviously like a multimillionaire salesman guy. So that worked out well for him. It could work out well for you too. Maybe we can't maybe it's difficult for us to all find that piece that's going to make us that multimillionaire, but it doesn't mean you can't work for yourself or just be successful or just even have a great career working for a good company, taking care of your family and enjoying the weekends with your kids. Like any of those things are great. Like those sound awesome. The point is, if you take responsibility for yourself, uh, you can change your circumstances. Again, that's the most consistent message I've seen out of all of these books. If you start following people who are more successful than you, they're probably going to say that same thing. So now it is almost 7 o'clock. I have a couple hours before work. I'm going to be taking responsibility for myself. I'm going to start recording a couple of videos for Kojo. Anyway, I'll talk with you. I don't know if I'm going to do this every day on this channel, but I'll talk with you later.